Archangel Michael says, "The hug you thought was comfort was a hand that slid between seconds and lifted what was never theirs, and now the clock has fangs." You feel it the way a room feels colder after someone leaves, the imprint of absence sharper than presence. 2 minutes sounds like a threat, but it's also a door. If you move now, it will open. You replay the embrace in the theater of your mind, every frame washed in hush white light. Their chin touched your shoulder, and their breath slowed to match yours, a metronome built for trust. In that sinking, a finger grazed, a pocket shifted, a secret changed owners. The thing is not just a thing, it's the hinge of your next chapter. It could be a key, a chip, a folded photograph, a sliver of paper with a number that opens rooms you haven't entered yet. Whatever its shape, it is the weight missing from your pocket right now. 2 minutes is a river cutting a canyon through your heartbeat. You know who it was, even if you don't want to say the name out loud because names make events solid. You can still feel the softness of their jacket fabric on your skin like a signature you didn't consent to. You look around the room you're in and find the echo of that hug clinging to the doorway. Your body remembers details the mind resists, the second press, the gentle squeeze, the way they pivoted you 2 steps to the left. It wasn't affection, it was choreography. This is not about anger, it's about precision. You do not waste seconds shouting at the air, you inventory your surroundings with clean, surgical attention. Phone, wallet, keys, card holder, small envelope, one is missing. It isn't the obvious thing, and that's what makes it dangerous. What's gone is the quiet proof, the evidence of a promise, the artifact that verifies who you are when voices turn against you. You stare at the table, and the table stares back, empty where your certainty used to sit. Do not chase them yet, chase the pattern first. The hug was their smokescreen, their magician's misdirection, the silk scarf that hides a blade. You trace the last hour, door opened, shoes off, kettle on, laugh shared, and then the hug, right before their eyes flick to your coat. There is a spine-straightening clarity that arrives when you stop negotiating with denial. You walk to your coat and slide your hand along the inner seam where you tuck what matters. There's a hollow there now, an outline of former weight, a silhouette of what you trusted. You hear the clock in the kitchen count its mouthfuls of time. Somewhere in the hallway a lift door shuts, somewhere in your body a line is crossed. You decide you will not be the person who realizes too late. Remember the hug's geometry, left arm over, right arm under, body turned slightly to your weak side. That's where their hand was, and that's where you felt the tug masked as tenderness. You can map the theft on your skin like constellations. 2 minutes means the world is still soft around the edges where their presence pressed against it. They left fingerprints on objects and air, and though you can't see them, your intuition can. You follow the quiet pull of what was changed. The cushion on the chair by the door is indented, deeper on the right as if someone shifted weight to conceal movement. You lift it and see a hairline thread from their sleeve caught in the fabric. Threads are witnesses that never lie. There is no panic in your hands as you move, there is focus, a narrow bright hallway leading through your doubt. In that hallway, every step you take has a question mark shaped like a spear, but you refuse it, you craft answers instead. You choose motion over myth. Turn to the mirror and look at yourself. There's a new posture in your shoulders, less apology, more oath. You are not the victim of a hug, you are the antidote to it. They picked the moment because you were tired and kind. Kindness is not weakness, but it can be exploited when wolves wear sweaters. You take that knowledge and it becomes armor. You open the drawer where you keep spare envelopes. One is torn at the corner. Inside, the decoy card remains because decoys are meant to be found. What's missing is the slim graphite drive with no label. That drive holds recordings that turn rumor into ruin for anyone who tries to rewrite your life. They thought you would crumble, they planned to make you beg for what was yours. But a thief is never ready for someone who remembers the exact chemistry of a moment. You remember the scent on their collar, cedar and rain, and the glint of a pin shaped like a tiny star. The star pin matters because it was upside down. People who stage their appearances miss the small alignments. The star tells you where they were headed. There's a bar 2 streets away whose sign uses the same inverted mark on its late-night flyers. Don't run, glide. Let your steps be the color of silence and your breath the weight of a promise. You slide your phone into your pocket and move. The elevator is a slow confession. You don't have patience for confessions right now. You take the stairs because stairs respect urgency. With each landing, you shed a layer of the hug until only the fact remains. The lobby smells like cologne and rain-slick umbrellas. A couple laughs by the door. The sound a kind of casual thunder you ignore. Outside, the city is a puzzle with a missing piece that you've already memorized. You cross the street and feel the signal change behind you like a blessing. In the window glass, you catch a ghost image of yourself, someone who knows exactly what they're retrieving. The bar's neon star blinks its tired blue, still inverted, still smug. Inside is low light and the scratch of vinyl. Your eyes adjust and find the familiar slope of the thief's shoulder at the end of the counter. They hold a glass like it's a trophy they didn't earn. You don't approach yet, you watch the rhythm of their hands. A person reveals their guilt in the way they avoid their own pockets. They keep adjusting the hem of their jacket, hiding the tiny weight that isn't theirs to hide. You sit 2 stools away and let silence do introductions. The bartender asks what you'll have, and you answer with a nod and a word you'll forget as soon as it arrives. You're not here for comfort, you're here for correction. Between you and them, there is a space that hums with unsaid futures. They glance at you as if the city unexpectedly grew a spine. You meet their eyes for half a second and return them to the room, which is already on your side. The song playing knows too much, it drapes across the scene like velvet that's watched 1,000 similar shows. You memorize the tempo because every retrieval has a soundtrack. On beat 3, their left hand touches their inner pocket again. You pivot in your seat like a page being turned. You are not loud, you are inevitable. Your voice, when it arrives, is a key that knows its lock. You tell them you forgot your gratitude. There's no accusation in it, just the fact that you're here to collect what's yours. They laugh in a way that leaves scratches on the air, but the scratches don't reach you. You let your eyes fall to their jacket as if by accident. A small, precise gaze can move mountains of pretense. They feel the weight of your focus and shift, and in shifting, they confess. They say you're mistaken, a phrase that shatters under the gentlest touch. Mistaken people don't walk across streets with the certainty you just carried. Mistaken people don't remember the thread on a cushion and the scent of cedar cut with rain. You don't argue, you reach. It's a motion as clean as a blade drawn through water. 2 fingers, swift and sure, lift the drive from the pocket where it never belonged. The bar exhale is a soft ovation nobody hears. You slide the drive into your palm and your palm into your pocket like you're returning a star to the sky. They stare at you with a map of panic they haven't learned to fold. You tell them the hug is over. In that sentence lives a boundary built of steel and sunrise. There are no threats, only endings. They start to speak again, but their words are out of breath. You stand, and the stool makes a sound that feels like a seal pressed into wax. You leave them there with their thirst. Outside, the city steps closer, curious and pleased. You let the night rinse your face and the neon star blink behind you, now irrelevant. Streetlight silver finds the line of your jaw like approval. Take inventory again, phone, wallet, keys, card holder, proof. The weight returns to your pocket and with it a whole neighborhood of tomorrow that had been temporarily evicted. You touch the fabric once to assure your nerves that the world is restored. 2 minutes were enough because you made them enough. A hug tried to be a theft, but you held your life with both hands and refused to barter it. You enter an alley of quiet that delivers you back to your building. On the stairs, your breath steadies into a treaty with the moment. You agree to remember the choreography and never confuse softness with surrender. You agree to keep the proof safe and the heart kinder than the lesson deserves. Back home, the table forgives your earlier stare. You set down the drive like a crown reclaimed. You open the drawer and find a better hiding place, one chosen by the version of you who has walked through this exact fire. No celebration yet, you're not here for fireworks. You're here for continuity, for the line of your story to remain uncut. You seal the proof into a quiet, new silence. Now breathe, fully. Let your chest expand into a sky that's no longer stolen. Let your shoulders fall and your spine remember it is a column. You are not naive for trusting, you are brave for correcting. The person who hugged you revealed their hunger, and you answered with comprehension, not chaos. That is a triumph few understand and fewer can perform. There will be echoes, small attempts to test whether you're still the same. You are not. You're the version that crossed a street and reclaimed a star. You do not owe an explanation to anyone who treats your life like a pocket. But you owe yourself the dignity of this record. You noticed, you acted, you returned. Write it somewhere no hand can reach. Days will pass, and the memory will fade to a clean stripe of certainty on the wall of your mind. You will brush past it sometimes and smile without stopping. It will be enough. When someone embraces you next, your body will scan and your soul will decide. You will choose hugs that don't require you to misplace any part of yourself. You will walk away heavier only with gratitude. What they took they did not keep. What you recovered is not merely metal and plastic, it is the right to be believed. Truth likes to travel with you, now it can. Set the kettle on again. Let the night soften around you the way a good coat does. Somewhere a neon star blinks right side up. There is music again, not a vinyl scratch but a simple human melody, footsteps in your own home, yours and only yours. You step through rooms that remember your name without being asked. Every corner bows a little. The door you closed stays closed. The window you cracked invites a small wind that smells like rain. You taste calm the way you taste a word before speaking it. 2 minutes took you into the city and back, and still the tea is hot. You lean against the counter and let your ribs hold a quiet parade. No confetti, just breath. There is a lesson, and it is not bitterness. It is calibration, the way you tune a string until it stops hurting to play. You are tuned now to yourself. If anyone asks how you spent your evening, you can say you went to reclaim the only thing you couldn't afford to lose. And if they press for detail, give them the clean outline, not the whole museum. The masterpiece belongs to you. You glance at the clock that once had fangs. It's harmless again. Time returns to being a river you wade instead of a wave that swallows. You find your reflection in the kettle and nod to the person who refused to be unwritten. There are other tasks, other days, other rooms where your name will be tested. You do not dread them. You will arrive as yourself without permission slips. Somewhere, the person who hugged you tries to invent a reason for their empty pocket. Let them invent, that's a world you no longer fund. The account is closed. You sit, and the chair recognizes your shape. You hold the reclaimed proof not with fear, but with respect. It is a servant of your future, not a tyrant of your present. Pour the tea. Watch the steam write ghost letters that no thief can translate. Read them anyway, they spell relief. You check the lock on your new hiding place, not because you are afraid, but because you have become a curator of your own evidence. Curators are careful, they are also free. You are both. A message arrives, a social chirp, a trivial notification. You let it pass unattended, you've already responded to the only alert that mattered. Your reply was decisive and on time. You dim the lights and keep one lamp on like a lighthouse small enough to fit on a desk. It pulls a gold circle over the wood, and inside that circle is your tomorrow. It breathes with you. The hug is a story you tell yourself once, not a loop you live inside forever. It is a caution, not a chain. You file it under wisdom and walk away. At the edge of sleep, your body thanks you for choosing its safety over your habit of doubt. Your mind, which once replayed harm on repeat, now hosts a quieter film. The credits roll without a villain's grin. Dream if you want. If you don't, simply float. Either way, you are accompanied by something that never needs to steal, your own returning certainty. And if tomorrow someone steps toward you with open arms, you will meet them with eyes that see and a heart that chooses. Because a chosen hug holds nothing but warmth. Because you learned, swiftly and without apology, how to keep what is yours. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. The night leans back, and your shoulders finally drop into a steadier horizon. Silence grows leaves on the edges of the room, soft and green as a promise kept. You stand there with the knowledge that recovery has a glow all its own. You stack the minutes since the bar like clean plates on a shelf. The tower does not wobble because your hands no longer tremble. Strength arrives as a posture that refuses to bow to old shadows. You do not rush to sleep, because sleep prefers people who have finished their sentences. There is one more sentence to write, and it begins with intention. You take a pen and a small notebook, the paper eager as dawn. On the first line you write the name of the object now safe again. On the second line you write the cost of almost losing it, measured not in money but in nerve. On the third line you write your oath to never place your future where a stranger can reach. The kettle clicks and you pour a slow ribbon into your cup. The steam threads its way through your hair like a gentle clarifier. You drink and feel the temperature of your courage settle into the shape of your ribs. In this new calm, memory steps out of the dark with a lantern. It shows you the tiny edits you will make to your life without bitterness. Edits are not erasures, they are refinements carved by living. You shift the table slightly so your chair faces the door. You move the lamp so it paints light across the lock and the floor. Your room becomes a map that loves you back. There is a drawer that once held clutter and apology. It now holds order, the kind that hums like a well-tuned string. You lay in fresh felt, install a small fireproof pouch, and give your proof a throne. You breathe out the last of the bar's neon and let your walls exhale with you. Outside, tires whisper along wet streets like pens finishing letters. Inside, your pulse and the clock agree to be friends again. In a corner of the desk rests a stack of unopened mail. You open it with the same even care you used in the bar, blades sliding under paper like a fish through water. Most of it is ordinary, blessedly so, but one thin envelope carries the fragrance of a plan. The note inside pretends to be casual and fails. It mentions a meeting on the weekend, a place you know and a time that feels rehearsed. The name at the bottom is familiar in a way that tastes of rust. This is not a new storm, only the tale of the one you already walked through. You smile without showing teeth, because recognition is power when season follows season. You place the note beneath a paperweight shaped like a lighthouse. Archangel Micheal says, "A lighthouse does not chase ships across the sea, it simply shines until the lost learn its language." Those words sit in your spine like a beam that refuses collapse. You let them ring once and then you get practical. Practical looks like duplicates, so you make them. A copy lives in a cloud locked behind a password built from a date only you honor. Another lives on a second drive sealed in foil and tucked inside a book whose cover misdirects prying eyes. Practical looks like a simple log written in language only you would use. You note times, glances, fabric, scent, the choreography of the room, the shape of a lie that tried to grow. You write as if the future were sitting across from you taking notes. In the morning, light breaks over the windowsill like a clean verdict. You step into it and your skin recognizes a gentler world. Breakfast is a small ceremony that blesses what comes next. You choose clothing that does not apologize for being strong. You slide the reclaimed proof into its new home and feel the pocket close with quiet certainty. This is what security sounds like when you move through a doorway. A message arrives from a number that once mattered more than it should have. It taps at your phone like rain trying to become a flood. You look at it for what it is, a ripple you will not enlarge. The words attempt to rewrite last night into a misunderstanding. You decline the rewrite with a stillness sharper than argument. Your reply is absence, the kind that draws a line even the bold respect. You step out and the building nods as you pass. On the street, vendors arrange fruit like little planets learning their orbits. You buy an orange because you can, peel it slowly because you choose to. Midday brings work, and work loves the steadiness you wear now. Tasks click into place with clean edges, each completed thing a bead on a simple thread. You find momentum without forcing it, which is a quiet kind of power. Afternoon stretches, and you pause for water and a look at the sky. Clouds move with the grace of things not trying to prove anything. You decide to mirror them and let your face learn softness again. Toward evening, you walk by the bar with the inverted star. The sign blinks, trying to catch your memory by the sleeve. You keep your pace and give it nothing but a passing glance. You turn onto a street lined with bookstores and cafes that smell like cinnamon and good decisions. In the window of a shop sits a lockbox that looks like a conversation you would like to have. You step inside because you follow what calms you. The owner greets you with a nod that recognizes quiet victories. You choose a sturdy box, one that feels like a handshake you can trust. You also choose a notebook with thick pages and a spine that will outlast seasons. Back home, you place the box where a past version of you would not have thought to look. You record its location in your private code as if you were leaving a map for a future friend. That friend is you, only wiser. Dinner is simple and honest, the kind that returns strength without lies. Music plays at a volume that allows your thoughts to breathe. You eat and listen and feel a whole day choose peace. Night lowers itself like a curtain that knows the show has earned its rest. You sit by the lamp and open the new notebook. The first page holds a title only you will understand. You write the ways a hug will be allowed to exist in your world. It will carry no theft and no request your body did not make. It will be a shelter built of consent and unbroken hands. You write the ways you will look after the evidence of your life. You will store what matters as if it could wake and sing. You will treat your story like a garden and keep sharp eyes for weeds. Messages stack through the evening from people who think urgency is a crown. You lower the volume on everything that is not your name. Sound becomes a field where only your footsteps matter. Sleep calls earlier than you expected, and you answer with a yawn that feels like a truce. You leave the lamp on the lowest setting, a small moon keeping watch. You lie down and the bed meets you like a promise kept. Dreams bring small scenes of the city edited for kindness. You walk through them unafraid and collect the pieces that shine. When you wake, a quiet upgrade has occurred behind your eyes. Days pass without spectacle because you choose that cadence. Your circle learns your new boundary without a speech. Knowledge spreads the way light does when a door is opened. The person who hugged you sends one last message shaped like a trap. It says the past can be smoothed if you just loosen your grip. You hold your grip where it belongs and feel no tremor. You reply this time with 3 words that are not a plea. You say that the matter is closed. You place the phone down and let the phrase become a lock clicking home. Work grows, friendships breathe, solitude becomes a room with better furniture. You laugh at a point in the day where laughter fits like sunlight at noon. No part of you is missing when you laugh now. A week later, a call comes from someone who matters in a way that lifts rather than bends. They speak of a new door opening because your name held its ground. Your proof, quietly stored, has written you an invitation. You prepare without frenzy, the way you prepared for the stairwell that night. Clothes laid out, documents crisp, keys where they belong. You move through your small home as if it were a symphony you now conduct. The meeting happens in a room with high windows and floors that remember careful footsteps. You speak plainly and watch clarity register in eyes that decide futures. There is no struggle in your voice because the struggle already ended. Outcome arrives dressed as relief and opportunity standing shoulder to shoulder. It sets its briefcase down on the table and waits to be welcomed. You do not hesitate, you invite it in and shake its hand. Afterward, the street outside looks like a reward without glitter. You walk like a person who returned from a storm with something unbroken. A child on a scooter laughs, and the sound polishes your day. You keep walking until you reach a park where trees make a roof worth living under. A bench offers you a place and you accept. The light through leaves writes small poems on your sleeves without asking for credit. In your pocket the proof rests like a heart that has learned its job again. You touch the fabric once, not for fear but for ceremony. The pocket thanks you by being exactly where you left it. Evening lifts its lanterns over the city as if to honor your pace. You head home through streets that now pronounce your name correctly. Your door opens to the same lamp, the same table, the same chair, all a little more alive. You place new documents in the lockbox and close it with 2 firm clicks. The sound lands in the room like an accolade. You place the key where only your future can find it. In the mirror you notice something you have not seen in a while. It is not fierceness, though that is present, it is ease. Ease grows where vigilance bends but does not break you. You thank the night not because it demanded it, but because gratitude aligns the floorboards. You turn off the lamp and let darkness be a friend again. Sleep arrives without bargaining. Morning folds into a rhythm that keeps you honest and kind. You stretch, drink water, write a short line about the day you want to build. You walk out and the hallway keeps your secret with a smile. The world still contains thieves and storms, but you no longer advertise vacancy. Your posture says occupied by self and the world listens. The doors you open are doors you can close, and that is a new kind of wealth. Weeks gather like pages that belong to the same book. People who love you notice the steadier editing of your sentences. They adjust to the new grammar of your boundaries and discover it is beautiful. You meet someone at a market who has hands that do not reach without invitation. Conversation sits between you like a small campfire that warms without consuming. You leave with a number and no alarms. Your home continues to evolve, not into a fortress but into a place that knows how to keep what matters. There is art on the wall that reminds you to breathe deeper than habit. There is a plant by the window that has decided to thrive because you do. On a shelf rests the notebook you began, heavier now with pages that refuse to lie. You flip through and see how your handwriting changed from urgent to certain. This is evidence too, and you honor it. One evening rain returns and taps the glass like a musician that remembers your song. You make tea and let the sound play to the room. You smile because it is only rain, and it has learned to knock without entering. You sit and send a brief message to yourself, the kind that lands like a steadying hand on the back. You write that the hug is archived and the thief is an old weather pattern. You write that retrieval is a skill you will carry like spare light. A season turns and with it your wardrobe and your tone. You donate a jacket that remembers too much and keep a scarf that remembers just enough. You keep the proof safe and let the story breathe without you carrying it every hour. The person who hugged you becomes a footnote that does not grow. Your life takes the main text and fills it with scenes that are yours to inhabit. You keep the margins for joy. You wake every day with less noise and more listening. Your decisions make a sound like accurate footsteps. You travel through hours that treat you like a true address. At times a memory flashes and tries to borrow your focus. You allow it one breath and then point it toward the archive where your new rules live. The memory obeys, because rules written in earned ink tend to be obeyed. A letter arrives from the place where doors become futures. It contains words that affirm what your spine already decided. You place it in the lockbox as a second crown. You go out to dinner with people who know how to celebrate without wreckage. Laughter builds a roof over the table and no part of you scans for exits. You eat, talk, and leave with your pockets exactly as you entered. On the walk home the city offers you a series of small gifts. A street musician finds a note that matches the weather. A stray dog finds its owner and the reunion paints the block gold. Home receives you with the quiet ceremony you now prefer. You turn the key, enter, and the air learns your name again. You light a candle because you like the way flame instructs darkness without cruelty. The lockbox sits where it should, heavy and reliable. You do not open it because trust does not need constant proof. You nod to it like an old friend and move on. Your notebook waits and you add one more line, brief and solid. You write that being unstealable is an art you practice daily. You close the cover with a gesture that sounds like the word completed. The night outside becomes a quilt of light stitched by hands you will never know. You are inside it and apart from it and both feel right. You stretch, breathe, and let the day loosen its grip. Sleep finds you quickly, because nothing needs guarding more than living does, and you have honored that. Dreams are local and kind. You wake ready to carry the ease you earned. Time accumulates in your favor because you treat it like a partner and not a thief. Your calendar fills with things chosen rather than inherited. You step through weeks that add rather than subtract. There is no grand finale because your life is not a stage that owes applause. There is only a steady continuation that respects the shape you have become. The story settles into a river that remembers its banks. When people reach for you now, they find a person who knows the weight of their own name. They find hands that give or receive without taking. They find a heart that closes gently when closing is needed. You keep walking, pocket light and future heavy with good work. You keep choosing doors that open because you decided to hold the key yourself. You keep the lockbox, the notebook, the calm, and the ease. The city stretches and yawns and allows you to pass. You pass and allow it to be what it is without demanding more. You carry your proof and your peace like twin constellations that finally found their place. Morning leans through the curtains with a patient glow that feels like permission. You rise without rush, letting the floor greet your steps as if returning from a season abroad. The house inhales with you like a friend learning your rhythm. Your desk wears the calm of completed tasks, and the lockbox hums its quiet note of assurance. You run a fingertip across the notebook's cover, feeling the faint ridges where your resolve lives in ink. Today will not require heroics, only the same steady truth that carried you through the night. You move a chair half an inch and the room's geometry clicks into place. Order is not obsession, it is kindness extended to your future self. A kind room teaches the body how to exhale. On the counter, an orange waits with the patience of small sweetness. You peel it slowly, letting the rind mist your hands with citrus light. Even the simplest rituals feel like signatures you choose every time. The city has already opened its eyes, but you step into it on your own timetable. Shoes tied, keys where they belong, proof nested in the pocket that now knows its duty. You walk out with the posture of someone who will not be unstitched. Streets hum in ordinary tones, and ordinary is the music you were hungry for. Vendors set up stalls, and a child points at the sky as if hiring clouds for a parade. Your presence is neither loud nor small, it is exact. Work meets you with the clean edges of solvable puzzles. You solve them without fanfare, beads of focus sliding one by one onto a thread. Colleagues notice the hush of confidence and align with it instinctively. A call comes from a door you once knocked on, and it opens now with less hesitation. Your voice carries unshaken through the conversation, anchored by proof you no longer need to display. Decisions tilt in your favor like flowers turning to a known sun. At lunch you choose a table near the window where light behaves like a blessing. You eat without reading, letting taste be the only message for a few minutes. The quiet reaches into your bones and oils the hinges. When the day leans toward evening, you take the longer route home. Your feet learn new paths through familiar neighborhoods and teach your eyes to notice gentler details. A mural you've passed 100 times decides to reveal a color you hadn't seen. In a small shop, you buy blank labels and a fireproof envelope because future care is present love. Tools do not replace vigilance, but they keep it from becoming fatigue. You carry the items like seeds that promise a steadier field. At home, you turn the careful into habit. Labels align, documents nest, the envelope closes with a sound like a quiet vow. Your hands perform the sequence until it becomes music. You open the notebook and write a single sentence that belongs to today. It says you will not narrate your life from fear when evidence lives with you in peace. The line lands like a rail that trains can trust. Evening brings rain again, soft as wool on glass. You let it dress the outside while the inside chooses its own weather. A lamp pools its gold over the table and refuses to flicker. A message buzzes, this time from an ally who watched your steadiness with careful eyes. They say a door is gathering its hinges because you wouldn't bend. You smile and write a small yes that fits the moment and nothing more. Dinner is uncomplicated and entirely enough. You played it with the small ceremony of someone who knows their hands are allowed to be gentle. Each bite returns a quiet portion of strength you didn't realize you'd spent. Later, you step onto the balcony and watch the city blink in patient Morse. Nothing urgent is being said, and that is the message. Your body files this under proofs that do not need pockets. You sleep as if sleep has been waiting for your signature. Dreams come and go like trains that don't need to stop because you already arrived. Morning returns without collecting a toll. Days begin to stack in a way that builds rather than presses. The spine of your week holds straight without effort because truth is doing the lifting. You move through hours like a person with a passport to their own life. There is an invitation to speak where your name was once whispered as rumor. You accept because you can stand and tell a steady version without showing the blade. The room greets you with the hush that precedes clean weather. You talk about process, patience, and the simple bravery of not misplacing yourself. You don't mention the bar, the inverted star, or the thread that testified for you. You mention only the way a person can become unstealable by keeping their story near. Afterward, strangers thank you with eyes that have learned a new angle. They walk away carrying something that isn't heavy but changes weight anyway. You walk away lighter for having said what belonged to you. Weeks turn their pages and keep your place with a ribbon you tied yourself. You add small touches to the home that wears your calm well. A plant rises like a promise that refuses to give up on light. One afternoon, a letter from Old Storms arrives wearing polite clothes. It asks for one more meeting that sounds like a trap disguised as closure. You recognize the pattern and choose the response that ends without repeating. You draft 3 lines, clear as winter air, and each line closes a door without slamming it. You send them and feel the echo leave your ribs without residue. Some endings are not theater, they are well-fitted lids on jars that should not be reopened. With that done, space returns to your calendar like a field after harvest. You do not rush to fill it, you let it be honest in its emptiness. Rest grows there with nothing to prove. Archangel Micheal says, a boundary kept is a prayer answered by your own spine. The words settle again in the architecture of your day. You honor them by acting, not by announcing. A friend comes by with cinnamon bread and the kind of laughter that oils stubborn locks. You share slices and sunlight without having to translate your quiet. This is a language you were always fluent in but had forgotten to speak aloud. You walk together through the afternoon, past windows arranging their reflections. The city remembers to be kind when you give it a chance. A street musician finds your pace and plays a melody that fits your stride. Back at home, you place a second key with someone who understands the weight of trust. You don't hand them fear, you hand them responsibility dressed in clarity. They receive it correctly because their hands don't ask for more than you give. Nights pass without letters pretending to be thunder. Your phone sleeps in another room, and the room you sleep in learns to be a harbor. You wake as a person whose name fits cleanly in their mouth. Another invitation arrives, this one real, dressed in the linen of new work. You gather the documents that needed gathering and find that they already live in order. Preparation happens in the days that don't look like preparation. At the meeting you speak and the room aligns as if the floor knows your cadence. You present what matters and leave out what once tried to steal the stage. Clarity performs its quiet miracle, people hear what they need to hear. When the decision comes, it sits across from you like a friend already halfway to your door. You say yes without over-explaining, a sentence chosen for its clean weight. A chapter turns, not with a drumroll, but with a page that knows its job. You walk home under a sky that seems to have removed a layer of haze. Even the sidewalks feel like they've agreed to meet you where you are. Your steps arrange themselves into a kindness you can stand on. At your desk, you open the notebook and write a paragraph composed of small victories. You list them without drama because drama does not add value to truth. Each line is a nail in the house you're building, steady and exact. You do not forget the hug that tried to be a theft. You simply refuse to let it be the author of your next sentence. Your author is the person who crossed a street and reclaimed a star. There is a jar on your shelf filled with ticket stubs and folded receipts from days earned. You add a small note dated today that says simply kept. The jar doesn't look like proof, but proof doesn't always need to look like itself. Later, rain revisits with better manners. You crack the window and let it play the sill like a soft drum. The house listens with you and learns a new rhythm. In the kitchen, tea steam writes brief poems you don't have to memorize. Their meaning lands anyway and dissolves into the breath that carries you. You drink and feel the map of your day go smooth. Messages ping from corners where your name used to wobble. Now it stands without propping, and the pings sound like distant bells rather than alarms. You answer what deserves answering and leave the rest to gravity. A month passes and the lockbox remains a loyal quiet. You open it once, not because you doubt, but because honoring matters. Everything is where it should be, and you close it with a smile that doesn't need witnesses. You send a note of thanks to the ally who held a hinge when your door was learning to open. Gratitude circulates like good weather moved by honest wind. It returns in forms you're not waiting for, which is the healthiest way it can arrive. Another market day, another familiar face, another conversation that glows without demanding. You learn someone's laugh well enough to keep it for later. It becomes part of your evening's quiet music. You walk home under streetlights that understand the art of just enough. You unlock your door and the act feels like punctuation that lands exactly where it should. Inside waits the room you built sentence by sentence. You place your keys in their bowl and the sound is a ritual tuned to peace. You wash your hands and the water feels like agreement. The mirror reflects a person who does not dim to be safe. You pick up the notebook and add a page titled Continuation without drag. The words gather in lines that know how to stop on time. You close it and the spine holds without complaint. There will be other hugs, other rooms, other moments where softness and theft try to share a coat. You will arrive with eyes that see and a heart that chooses without apology. Your proof will travel with you not as armor, but as a quiet star that won't be shaken from its sky. You turn the lamp lower and let the house become a small constellation. Everything hums at a volume that respects sleep. Your body recognizes the invitation and accepts. Dreams remember their manners again and leave space at the edges. You wake with the kind of energy that doesn't rush to prove itself. Another day begins, and you step into it wearing accuracy. The city greets you with the neutrality you prefer and the opportunity you earn. Your name moves through conversations like a well-folded letter. Hands that meet yours understand how to hold without taking. At noon, the sun spreads across your desk like a map you don't have to decipher. You let it warm the paper, the pen, and the soft underside of your wrist. Simple light continues to be the most honest witness. By late afternoon, you have built a stack of finished lines that don't wobble. You leave your workspace tidy enough that tomorrow arrives welcomed. Even endings can be soft if you invite them instead of bracing. Evening returns, and with it, the easy cadence you now trust. You cook, You listen, you rest, you write one more true sentence. You lower the lights and let the day do what it came to do, end well. This is how recovery looks when it keeps walking. No sirens, no speeches, just a corridor of steady doors that open when you arrive. You move through them owning your pockets and your peace. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20.